What up, what up, what up? We back. Today we're going to be discussing women who don't listen to their man, but somehow they're surprised that their man is leaving, deciding they really don't want to be with them long term. Let's go ahead and get into it, and then we'll come back and discuss it a little bit later on. Like that.
I'm tired of hearing pussy is power. It's a gabillion good coochies out here. If your man gives you a blueprint and tells you, this is how I want you to love me, this is how I want you to tend to me, cater to me, nurture me, whatever, so that I could be content in this relationship, why are you not listening? You don't go to a job and they give you the job description and you fucking wing it. So why are you winging it in your relationship and expecting the man to, be loyal to you? I'm confused. But you want a man to love you in your love language. Women need to stop that one-sided ish. I can't stand it. If you do choose to come together and y'all verbalize things, why not respect it? Don't you think that would make the relationship go much easier? It's like y'all make it harder and then you wonder why this man is unhappy. He told you what he wanted. You didn't listen because you thought your pork chop was enough to keep him. There's a lot of pork chops out here. Do better.
Man, do better. For real. Hey. I love how this young lady put it. You know what I mean? But yeah. I don't know why y'all would be listening, man. A lot of men be real simple out here. They telling you what it's about, how they like you to come at them, the demeanor, the attitude, all of that. Come correct or don't come at all, But here's the kicker though, right? So a lot of them, they feel like, okay, we're going to just be a chameleon, act like we're going to give you what you want, let you keep explaining it to her. And some act like they're trying to do it and be a chameleon, but after a while you realize they're not. And at some point, what do? A lot of guys, they don't really trip about stuff unless it's something that means something to them, right? And so I would assume it's something that is a bigger deal than most. And these are things that men are going to put their foot down about. And if they do that, then it's like, what's the next step, right? The man has spoken to you. They let you know what it was. And you don't respect a man if he don't stand on it, right? If he constantly keeps talking about the same thing, going in circles, then what's left to do, right? You see, a man becomes a shell of his former self, or he moves on. And a lot of loyalty and things of that nature on the man side, it's always thought to be based around cheating. And it's not just a guy going out to cheat. I mean, a guy just might feel like, he might just want to just move on and go to another woman. And you just want to hear a different voice sometimes, a different voice telling you even the same things. Is a different voice. It's a different approach. It's something fresh. The history is not there of how you treat each other, the conversations you've had, the maybe some of the arguments, some of the things that you've talked about, some of the argument points, they're not there, right? It's a clean slate. So a lot of things are built around, the guy cheating and the guy, the fact that, they're tying loyalty to cheating, right? But it might just be the fact that man has tried everything he could with you, tried to reason with you, tried to talk you into certain different things, how to deal with him, something real simple, and you just didn't want to play ball. You didn't want to listen to him. You didn't want to reason with him, and he decided to move on. If you're not going to listen to the guy, why do you expect loyalty? Why do you expect the guy to be there long term? Maybe you guys have chemistry physically, maybe it works for the interim, maybe y'all good right now, but at the end of the day, long term is long term. Forever is forever. And only way to really lock that in is if y'all really locked in terms of how y'all thinking, how y'all moving, what I'm saying, and just not necessarily agreeing on every single thing, but learning how to disagree as well. How do you guys get through some of the decision making, and who's held accountable to certain different things, and how you guys work together as a team? That's a big deal, right? And if one person is being overlooked, undermined, he's not, especially as a man, you're not really gonna want to be around that, and so you might start building it somewhere else. I do say to a lot of men that we should probably end it with that woman before we go and started with another woman, but sometimes that doesn't happen. Some guys are like, you know what, I'm gonna go ahead and, you know, when the opportunity strikes, I'm gonna go ahead and build with that woman, and then hey, if I feel like this woman is better than the next, or this woman is better than the woman that I'm with, I'm gonna go ahead and slide with her. But I don't condone necessarily that, but that's why a lot of guys be on, man. It's not just the sex, it's not just guys being thirsty all the time. It's about who you with, and if they're cooperative, and can you reason with them, and can you work with them. It's nothing worse than being with somebody you just can't reason with in a relationship, and then what, I'm gonna be with you for however long? Nah, that ain't happening. So I just want to chop it up about this. We're gonna go through some other clips.
Men aren't bad communicators. Women are bad comprehenders. Women don't comprehend. They just interpret. So I want to say this again. Women don't comprehend. They interpret.
It sounded like you said this. Like, no, I didn't say that.
And they love saying, well, I just feel like you said this. How do you feel like somebody said something? Did you hear it or did you not? And this is what I'm saying as far as childlike. That's something what a child would do. So when you're dealing with women, you have to understand you're dealing with the 7-year-old girl inside of her and not the 25, 35-year-old woman. When an individual, male or female, has dealt with a significant amount of trauma, they actually do not mature emotionally past that age. Thanks. But it depends on who you are and what you went through and what age you went through what you went through. That's the age you actually are emotionally. Men aren't bad communicators. Women are bad comprehenders. Women don't comprehend. They just interpret. So I want to say this again. Women don't comprehend. They interpret.
Yeah, man. He said women don't comprehend. They interpret. Now I feel him on that. Because a lot of experiences you do have to go back and forth and tell a woman, hey, this is what I was talking about. This is what I was saying. But a lot of times they try to twist your words so that they can get the feeling of the emotion, elicit the emotion out of it, right, on your end. And then they could switch the topic a little bit, you know what I'm saying, and throw the guilt and the shame. Because, you know, we talk about shame and guilt, but that's how they deploy it. My thing is, men have to watch out for that, you know what I'm saying, especially when you're discussing and trying to reason with your woman and she's constantly doing that all the time. You got to call that out, you know what I mean, you got to call it out ASAP, mainly so that you don't fall down the trap of getting emotional, letting it become more of a mudslinging instead of staying on topic, being logical and saying, this is what I need, this is what I want, and that's it, you know what I mean. And I think a lot of times women say they want a leader like that but can't handle it. They throw these type of tactics to that man. You know, it's up to a lot of strong men to say, you know what, nah, this is what's happening. I see what you're doing. This is what's gonna have to happen. You know what I mean? And so another thing that I touch on often, man, is, you know, I'm hearing a lot of women are more mature, and I'm just not seeing it, especially mentally and emotionally. You know, I see a lot of women say that they are more mature because they want a relationship. But that doesn't mean that you're more mature. You just want a relationship. And I can see why you would as a woman, right? Because it makes life easier for you. And just because you want that as a woman doesn't mean that you're more mature, you know. And I think a lot of times that's part of that little guilt thing as well. They throw in a lot of men and say, well, you're not mature because you don't want a relationship. And it's like, that's not necessarily true, you know. Some of them are intelligent, they're ambitious, and they got their things together. But it's just certain things emotionally and mentally where they just don't have it all together, you know what I'm saying, and have a sense of accountability and self-reflection that's needed to really get to that point of self-control and take ownership of it. And, you know, it's hard for a lot of women to do, and to me that's maturity. A lot of maturity is missing if it's not that self-accountability, self-reflection, humility. If you don't have that, you're not really mature.
Are not paying attention to how you're contributing to the relationship. Like, it's always like, oh, I have all these concerns, and it's like, well, what are you doing to even address the issues in our relationship before you come at me with your grievances in the relationship?
But why does that matter if I'm giving you something?
Does matter.
We have to understand and go through what I first presented first before we start going deeper into other stuff. And that's what happens a lot of times. Our feelings get swept under the rug, and then we go back to you and try to cater to your feelings. And so now our feelings are being put on the back burner.
And so
it comes to a time where we just say, fuck it. Y'all don't pay attention. A lot of women listen to respond. They don't listen to hear. They just be ready to flip, because immediately the moment a man tells you that you're wrong in something or somewhere that you can improve, you immediately internalize it and feel like it's an attack on y'all. Because y'all feel like y'all are so perfect. Women are so perfect.
No,
they can never do no wrong.
I don't think that's true. I think the issue is that I feel like a lot of times when men do have complaints, it's like y'all's complaints are so trivial and y'all are not paying attention to how you're contributing to the relationship. Like it's always like, oh, I have all these concerns, and it's like, well, what are you doing to even address the issues in our relationship before you come at me with your grievances in the relationship?
But why does that matter if I'm giving you something?
It does matter.
We have to understand and go through what I first presented first before we start going deeper into other stuff. And that's what happens a lot of times. Our feelings get swept under the rug, and then we go back to you and try to cater to your feelings. And so now our feelings are being put on the back burner. And so it comes to a time where we just say, fuck it. Y'all don't pay attention.
But yeah, I mean, just like this man was just saying, man, and you can see this exchange right here. She didn't even listen. She didn't even stop a second to listen to what he was saying, first of all, right? So that's a great example. And then it was like the perfect situation, right? The more she was talking, she said that, well, we don't listen to you because you haven't worked on the things that we talking about. And that's the thing about a relationship, man. You both have to work on yourselves at the same time. There's no, well, once you do this, once you do that. Because once you tit for tat with each other like that, it'll never work. It'll never work. You know what I'm saying? And so you have to both work on yourself at the same time. You know what I'm saying? And listen to each other as best as you can. Now, of course, there are things that are more important than others. I guess that's dependent on the impact. It's not just because you say so, right? And that's something that you probably both discuss and say, hey, you know what? Let's work on this first. And depending on who's more at fault, could be the one that has to do the most work. But at the same time, man, listen. You can't let someone's concerns just completely get buried. You have to at least work with the person, because that's what it's all about. Again, that accountability, man, it's just tough for a lot of these women to really deal with. A lot of women just feel like, well, hey, we're going to have sex, we're going to get over it, and it's going to be good. And it's like, nah, that ain't what it is, ma. You ain't about to turn me insane. You ain't about to make me crazy now. You know what I'm saying? And so, especially if you're a quality man, you're doing your responsibility. You're doing what you're supposed to do. You want to work it out with who you with, no doubt about it. But once you feel like and you determine as a man, hey, I can't reason with this woman. Hey, I gotta go. You know what I mean? No hard feelings. I gotta go now. And a lot of women don't, when they hear that though, they still don't react. And again, it's guilt, shame. Oh, well, you don't want me. You just using that as an excuse to leave me. And all this other type of things. It's like you doing all of that. Just deal with the issue. And again, a lot of times, even like she was just saying, this lady was just saying about, oh, it's be so trivial, your complaints. I think a lot of times men really don't have but maybe 3 or 4 different concerns. You know what I'm saying? Or a small amount compared to women, that's for sure. As far as how they want to be treated, what they want to be done in the relationship, what they need, in the relationship. And so that means you should be able to listen to the guy. If it's that important to him, at least listen to him and reason with him. You know what I'm saying? Especially if you want a guy with direction that's doing his thing and he's a good man and doing his part. But you wonder why that man don't want to be with you, or he don't want to stay with you long term. Hey, I'm just a messenger. But yes, sir. Y'all let me know what y'all think, man. You know how we do. Bang on that like button. Until next time, be easy. We gone.